Hello and welcome to Buckinghamshire and the Silverstone International Circuit for rounds 9 and 10 of the Tegiwa Civic Cup. Carl Swift and David Bucke are leading their respective classes, but before we go into this weekend's action, let's hear from Matt Suckling. He's been down in the paddock talking to a couple of the drivers.
Sam Hathaway from the Civic Cup racing here this weekend at Silverstone. First off, let's talk about your season. Not doing too bad, 10th in the championship.
Yeah, it's going well, yeah. It's a bit of a learning curve, this one. It's a bit different from what we raced last year. So, yeah, just sort of getting our feet and, testing the water a bit, and then I think we're going to go for it next year.
And of course, you moved up from the Mighty Mini Championship. Civic Cup, how's the differences between the two?
Yeah, it's a bit of a difference. It's a lot quicker. A lot more powerful engine, bit of a learning curve with handling different setups and stuff like that, but I've managed to take a lot of my skills from Mighty Minis across to this as well and use them to my advantage.
Andrew Huff racing within the Civic Cup. You're racing Class A, second season of the championship. You finding it better than last year?
Yeah, a lot better. It's a lot closer racing, more of a level playing field. All the cars are the same. We've got sealed ECUs and things like that, so yeah, it feels a lot better this year.
And you're not doing too bad in Class A. You run second to David Bucke. You've had a good season with him.
Yeah, it's been really good. I've not really had much close racing with Dave though. It's mainly been Tim Evans and Mark Hansen been racing close to. I mean, I had a really bad do at Donington with 2 DNFs, so just hope I can keep finishing this year and hope, championship could be mine, but it's close. It's going to be close.
Cars on the grid then for the first of 2 races today in the Tegiwa Civic Cup, and on pole position it is the championship leader Carl Swift. Alongside him is the Welshman Endaf Owens. As the lights go on, they go out now, and we are off and running here at Silverstone. The cars pouring down towards Abbey for the first time, and it's Swift that makes a good start then from pole position. Oh, well, there's contact in the background, and into the pit wall goes Steve Laidlaw, number 2. Well, some contact there in the middle of the pack sent Laidlaw, who started back on row 10, across the circuit and into the pit wall, and his car stationary on the circuit. Looks like the door is opening, and yes, good to see Steve Laidlaw getting out of the car. He's okay, but the car is not, and the red flags are out. Let's have another look, see if we can try and work out what went on. So we're looking back to row 10 to see Steve Laidlaw. He did just get tipped around, I think, across the nose of some of the cars behind him, and slammed straight into the pit wall. This is an onboard view that we can see here. Ahead of us there is Sam Hathaway, number 18. There is Laidlaw coming through and just tipped sideways and into the pit wall, I'm afraid to say. So we get a restart then. It's going to be over the full distance, 13 minutes plus 1 lap. The lights are out and away we go. Adam Shepherd there from row 4 of the grid, further back than we'd expect to see the man that lies second in the championship, but has made a pretty good start, and he's heading up towards the sharp end of the field as they go through Abbey for the first time. Let's see if we can work out where he is. I think he might be up to 3rd place already from 8th on the grid, which is an excellent effort. As you can see, the rain is starting to fall here. It was dry for qualifying, but it's now starting to turn into something of a wet race. Someone going a bit deep into the corner there. That might have been Baker. Not 100% sure on that, but nevertheless, most of the pack safely through the first couple of corners. It is Carl Swift then that is leading. Looks like Owens in 2nd place and Adam Shepherd up to 3rd place from row 4 of the grid. Mark Higginson, who started on the 2nd row, is in 4th. And the rest of this field in 2 classes, of course. Class B for the 2 litre cars, Class A for the 1.6 litre cars. They all flow through. We're on board with Higginson now, trying to get 3rd place back from Shepherd here. Has to make a little bit of a correction there, and for the moment he stays behind Shepherd and down in 4th place. Down towards the left-hander at Vale then. It is still Swift that leads. In car number 45, a winner in stock hatch last season, but leading the championship this season in the Tegiwa Civic Cup. He's had a very strong season so far. Oh, and someone off onto the grass there and running out wide through the left-hander. Didn't quite see who that was. Is that the car that's rejoined? Maybe Oliver Withington, I think that was, number 39, that's had a wide moment there at Vale. We can see there number 83 going through. That is Matthew Webster. Someone else getting wide there on the exit of Club Corner. These conditions getting a little bit more treacherous now, difficult for the drivers to deal with. They won't necessarily have been on a wet setup, because as the cars came out onto the track, This had been dry in the lead up to the race, although rain was always threatened. As Shepherd goes second now at the expense of Owens. Through Village, down towards the link they go, which will bring them back onto the hanger straight. Shepherd in his first season of racing, the 22-year-old from Braintree. Lots of karting in the past, but it's first year for Adam in cars. In the last meeting at Anglesey, he had some misfortune when he wasn't able to get out to start the race. He didn't join the race late and get fastest lap. But that's cost him ground to Carl Swift in the championship. So it's Swift that leads then. Shepherd second, Owens third, Higginson fourth. Looks like the Maltese driver Bernard Gallia is there in fifth place. We go on board with Swift now. The Wipers now working hard here at Silverstone. Along the stretch towards Valley goes, and he's lost the lead there. Shepherd goes through on the inside to take the lead. He goes deep into the corner. Can he hold on? Yes, he can. So Shepherd gets the lead at Vale. Swift it is that's in second now. And in third place is Owens. Higginson just dropping off the back of this trio in fourth spot, but Shepherd seemingly finding these conditions to his liking. On board we go with Higginson then, brother of RGB champion Mark, switching to this one of the latest shapes of car for this season. And he's going pretty well. Fifth in the championship coming into this weekend, behind Swift, Shepherd, Gallia and Owens. Yet to see him have a race win though. Wonder if we'll see that today. Down towards Village we go. It's Shepherd from Owens, from Swift, I beg your pardon, then Owens next up, the former mini media champion. On board again we go with Swift, with that Shepherd car, familiar white with the purple stripes, similar livery to that his father raced in Stock and Hot Hatch a few years back. Swift using the tow here along the hang straight. Under the vehicle bridge they go, pulling alongside. And is going to go through at Stoke Corner, take the lead of the race once again away from Carl Shepherd. So it's Swift that now leads, the Autograss racer. He will probably quite like these conditions. He'll be used to handling the car in conditions not unlike this. So it's Swift now that leads from Shepherd in second place, but Shepherd fighting back here. And he tries to be a bit later on the brakes into Vale, but not close enough to make it work. So he stays second, Owens in third. Great racing here at the front of the Tegiwa Civic Cup. The Owens motorsport car there of Endaf Owens. Now in third place, Higginson is in fourth spot. And quite a big gap back now to Gallia in fifth position, and his fellow Maltese driver Rodman Velo. In the background there you can see the orange car. He is in sixth spot at the moment. It looks like Rob Baker it is in seventh. And then I think it's the first of the Class A cars in actual fact. Yes, it's Mark Anderson. He lies fourth in the Class A Championship as we go on board with him now, leading Class A at the moment. He's got a few places in hand over his nearest rival, so he'll be able to close the gap here if he can maintain this lead on the likes of David Bucke, Andrew Huff and Tim Evans. Bucke 22 points ahead of Anderson in the Championship coming into this weekend. There's the four car of Stu Neal going through just ahead of Tim Evans in actual fact, as back towards the lead as we go. Swift holding on for the moment from Shepherd. Shepherd who led for about a lap of this race. Higginson still there in fourth, just not quite able to live with the first three. Indeed, Owens now in third place, not quite able to live with the top two it seems, as they now make their way through Vale, and Swift this time goes in a little bit too deep. Shepherd should be able to cut underneath him through Club Corner. The two of them will be alongside as they make their way back onto the start and finish straight, the international pit straight, and indeed Shepherd does go back into the lead of the race now. But Swift right in his toe, pulls alongside Shepherd now. He's going to have the inside line for Abbey Curve, the right-hander, and it's the left-hander at Farm. There's the 18 car, which is Sam Hathaway, who we heard from before the race, and he's running just outside the top 10 at the moment. Big train of cars once you've got beyond that first half a dozen or so. There's Hathaway, he's just tucked in behind number 21, which is Daniel Webster from Chorley. Many of these drivers based in the northwest. That's the James Griffith car, number 27, the second of the modern red cars. Someone making up some ground there. It is Hathaway. He's, I think, getting past. That's John Peerless as well, making his debut in the Civic Cup, having switched from classic stock hatch. So down the hanger straight they go towards Stowe Corner. Long train of Civics there. Very colourful sight they make too. It's Hathaway that's now wriggled to the front of that group. He's ahead of Webster. Peerless is in there, and so too I think is the number 4 car of... is that Neil? No, it may not be Neil in actual fact. I may be making that one up. On board with Anderson here, so he's lost out to Griffith now, but that's not for a class position. Points scored within the individual 1600 and 2 litre classes rather than based on overall finishing position. So long as Mark Anderson can stay ahead of his class rivals, it's looking good for him. Carl Swift it is back in the lead of the race, and Shepherd losing second place there at Village to Endaf Owens. So Owens goes through on the inside at Village, the hairpin. So Shepherd goes down to third place. And Higginson is now in the equation as well, really, because Swift has pulled away. Shepherd has dropped back into the clutches of these two, is now sandwiched in between them. And Higginson here is going to go for P2. He's in the toe down hanger straight, but actually not quite close enough, I don't think, to pick it up really. Really gaining anything on them through there. Owens goes wide. Stowe. Car gets very much out of shape, and Shepherd goes through to second place. Higginson should go through to third as well, and Owens now drops back quite considerably in fourth position. So this is for second. It's Shepherd and Higginson now. Shepherd goes in too deep. Higginson goes through on the inside. Shepherd over the grass, and well, that was a little bit scrappy from Shepherd, but Higginson now goes through to second place. Meanwhile, look at this fantastic racing going on within Class A. In the background of shot, there's Peerless goes wide. You can see David Buki, you can see Tim Evans, you can see Andrew Huff in the turquoise car as well. A real big scrap for the minor places within Class A as Oliver Withington has gone off and he's just trying to reverse out. Oh, he's damaged the bumper there. Oh, and a big impact there, and that is the car of Matthew Webster, number 83, that I'm afraid to say has just piled into the back of Oliver Withington's car in only, I think, his second or third race meeting in the championships. He was trying to get out of that gravel trap. He just got straight on, I think, slithering off on the wet circuit, and red flags are now out. Race is being stopped, and that's because of those two cars off at Vale then. There's Withington's car. I think, yes, Withington's still in the car, but there's quite a bit of damage you can see to the rear quarter of that car. Matthew Webster, who obviously, there he is out of his car, just slithered off. Let's have another look. And we are on board here with Webster. And yes, we lock up, go straight on. Withington, well, nothing that Withington could do about that really. He'd just gone straight on, hadn't he? Partly into the gravel, partly not. He felt he could get out of that, and the best way to do so would be to reverse. Possibly not, with hindsight, the wisest thing to do, because there is Webster. Exactly the same thing happened to him as had happened to Withington a few moments before, and heavy contact there. Well, the red flags came out and the result was declared after just 6 laps. Carl Swift getting the win from Adam Shepherd, with Endaf Owens in third place, Mark Higginson fourth, and Bernard Garlier in fifth. As far as Class A was concerned, the win went to Mark Anderson from David Buki, and Tim Evans with Andrew Huff in fourth position. Fastest laps within the respective classes went to Carl Swift and Mark Anderson.
Carl Swift coming home in first place in the first of the Civic Cup races. Bit tricky out there, how'd you find it?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad the first 3 or 4 laps. The rain was tiny amounts, kind of almost a dry feel to it, and then one lap I saw it coming down on hanger straight, loads on the windscreen, backed it right up, but luckily at that point I'd got a bit of a gap, so managed to maintain it.
Yeah, that's the thing, kind of as the race went on, you did pull out that gap somehow.
Yeah, I mean, Adam was fighting with me, and when he went from fighting to defending Mark behind, it managed to get some better times in and just pull a bit of a gap there.
What are we up to now, 3 wins is that?
3 or 4, not quite sure, but that's just extended the championship lead by about 3 points, so that's even better.
Adam Shepherd, great start to the race on the podium, and then it kind of dropped away for some reason. What happened?
Yeah, it was started 8th, had trouble in qualifying. Was quick to start with, came through and took the lead. And it started raining a bit, and coming into Stowe, the quickest line's around the outside, and when you start defending and it's hard to take that line, so me and Carl had a good battle. We got past, then I had to start defending to I think it was Endaf behind and give Carl a gap. But yeah, it's hard to find your feet with it. We had trouble with the brakes and testing. I was kind of a bit skittish on the brakes, hoping that I wasn't going to have a problem, but they were fine.
And weather conditions, of course, are pretty tricky. Is there any changes you make to the car to adapt to that?
For them, was out in a full dry setup. So for race 2, we'll go out of a wet setup now. So going to be hard starting 8th or 9th, but we'll see what we can do.
Cars lining up for the second race of the day in much sunnier conditions here at Silverstone. They're without, of course, though, Oliver Withington. He's gone off to hospital with a neck injury. We wish him the very best for his recovery. This a reversed grid then. Sam Hathaway and Mark Anderson on the front row as the lights go out. We're off and running at Silverstone. Always exciting, these reversed grid races in the Tegiwa Civic Cup. Good start there by James Griffiths. It looks like he has gone into the lead, and also getting a good start is Mark Higginson from the 4th row of the grid. So it looked like the 2 red cars were out into the lead at the beginning of this race. Yes, they are, and I think it's Griffith that is ahead as they turn their way through village for the first time. There'll be lots of shuffling of the order in the first few corners of this race. It's a grid that actually really plays into the hands of Mark Anderson, because he is effectively 6 rows ahead on the grid, his nearest Class A rival, so he'll have to do well here not to win his class on this occasion. But in his class today, and starting from the back of the grid, is Danny Winstanley. His regular mount broke in qualifying, so he's out there in Dale Parkinson's car for this afternoon's race. He did try and get out in race 1, but that didn't really work out for him, so we'll see what he can do from the back. Indeed, there he is, Danny Winstanley, already making up quite a bit of ground in the middle of shot there. He's made up several places already, but back to the leaders. Adam Shepherd it is that has found his way into the lead of the race. Then it looks like Mark Higginson is in second place and on board with Mark Anderson, who started on the front row of the grid then. Narrowed the gap in race 1 in the championship to Pukey, Huff and Evans ahead of him in the Class A point standing for the 1.6 litre cars. Let's see what he can do here. Went well earlier on in the wet, but the track, as you can see, drying out now in race number 2. Looks like Rodman Vella has made a pretty decent start. He's up there as well, but it's Shepherd from Higginson at the moment, with Rodman Vella there in 3rd place. 4th place looks to be number 20, Endaf Owen, so he's going well. And in 5th place is the 27 car of Julian Griffith. On to the hangar straight they will come then. This is the fight for 3rd position at the moment. Looks like Carl Swift is next up in 6th place. Well, he was the winner in race 1, of course, starting back in 10th on the grid for this one, so he's already made up 4 places. He's got Julian Griffith with the novice cross on the rear of his car in his sights already. We'll have a look up the inside as they head towards Stowe Corner. Will he go 5th? Meanwhile, we're going to have a change for 3rd as well. It looks like Owens is going to get the better of Vella here, who had that winner, Anglesey, in the last meeting. And indeed, the Welsh driver does go ahead now up into 3rd spot, but Vella fighting back him on the inside line, and yes, he just about hangs on. So Vella holds 3rd, Owens in 4th place, Swift now 5th, Griffith in 6th place, and it looks like Mark Anderson in 7th, flying the flag for the Class A cars. But out front it is Shepherd from Higginson. They've got quite a big lead over the rest already, with just a couple of laps of the race gone. Board here with Anderson then as he makes his way into Abbey. The circuit definitely much drier than it was for the first race. Conditions got increasingly tricky as that opening race went on, as Withington and Webster found out to their cost. Oh, and a change of place there. That's Anderson that is losing out. Try and work out what that was that has gone through in a moment. Oh, and Vella very wide there. In fact, Anderson's lost a couple of positions there, hasn't he? It might well be Sam Hathaway and Bernard Garlier that have gone through. The 2 leaders almost nose to tail through Stowe Corner this time then. A little bit of an incident between them in race number 1, but it didn't really matter in the end, with the results going back a lap because of the red flag. So down towards the left-hander they go. It's Shepherd from Higginson. Higginson, here's a 2nd season of racing. Yeah, there's the Sam Hathaway car from Garlia, then it's Anderson, then the next car through is Daniel Webster, 14 is Andrew Gorgler, and there is Danny Winstanley. Well, excellent effort from Danny from the back of the grid. He's up into the top 10 already in a car that's unfamiliar to him, but a top driver Danny. Of course, he won the first 2 rounds of the championship as far as Class B was concerned at Donington Park, but it's sort of fallen apart a little bit for him since then. But he'll be enjoying this race. I don't think he's actually scoring points within Class A today, as I understand it, but he's certainly making up some ground, and he'll be a threat to Mark Anderson before this race is out. Shepherd with a bit more breathing space now. Winstanley right behind Webster here. Daniel Webster in that number 21 car. There's Hathaway and Garlia. Garlia, the man who's third in the championship coming into this weekend, is possibly a little bit out of sorts here. It's very close for the lead now as they come through Stowe Corner, and it's Higginson on the inside for Stowe. That's going to put him on the outside line for Vale Corner. Can Higginson go all the way around the outside? They're almost touching. Shepherd holds the inside line, sort of edges Higginson out wide, and there's contact, side-to-side contact between the two of them. Higginson is the one that goes spinning. Shepherd continues in the lead of the race, and Higginson loses a couple of spots there as a result of all of that. So Shepherd now has the lead from Owens, and Carl Swift is up to 3rd place. Started 10th, of course, already 7 places up the order. It's the same 4 drivers out front that we had in the opening race, in spite of the reverse grid. It was interesting at Anglesey last time out, the reverse grid did sort of stay reasonably well reversed, because the likes of Steve Laidlaw and Roger Vella on that occasion, who started towards the front, were able to stay right at the front of the field. Possibly that's because it's much more easy to overtake here at Silverstone. Much more straightforward for drivers to make up places and climb back up the order. So there's Higginson. I don't know, will he feel slightly aggrieved because of that incident on the previous lap? We'll find out maybe later on, but up towards the right hand at Stowe they go, and Shepherd's lead is being eaten away quite rapidly now by Owens and Swift. It built up a little bit of an advantage, but it's pretty much evaporated now, and it's 3 for the lead, a gap back to Higginson in 4th. And down towards the left-hander at Vale they go, pretty much equidistant between the first 3 then. Making their way through Club Corner and over the timing line once again. Higginson just kicking up the spray there on the rough curb edges. There's Vella, Griffith and Hathaway and Garlia doing battle over 7th and 8th positions. Hathaway going wide, that might cost him. John Peerless there in number 46, outside the top 10 at the moment. He's just ahead of Stu Neal. Now Stu Neal was out in the first race. I was a bit confused because he wasn't appearing on our timing screens because he got no transponder on the car. But Stu Neal was definitely out there but not classified in the results. Hopefully his transponder's working now. Certainly he looks to be on our screens being timed. And he's having a good old race here at the moment. And the right hand hairpin at Village, battling with John Peerless, a very recent convert from Classic Stock Hatch. There's David Bucey. Now he is our Class A Championship leader coming into this weekend. He's been very consistent during the course of the season, but really the wins and the podiums have been well spread around during the course of the year in Class A. There's Carl Swift going through. Slightly muddy car now, so he's obviously picked up some dirt having been off-road in an earlier part of the race. He gets the last lap board this time. And Shepherd has dropped back, hasn't he? Now he was of course leading earlier on and is now down in 4th place. On board we go with Swift down towards the Village hairpin, the right hander. Still this battle going on between Neal and Peerless, and this is for 18th position. It just goes to prove it doesn't matter how far down the grid you are, there's some great racing to be had in the Civic Cup. And what's interesting here is that all of the drivers, 26 drivers still circulating, they're all on the lead lap, comfortably on the lead lap as well. No sign of any lappery, so pretty competitive, pretty evenly matched. Well, Carl Swift is going through to take the checkered flag. Who's going to be second though? There's Swift, over the line he goes. A double this weekend for Carl Swift in the Tegiwa Civic Cup. well done to him. Second place has gone the way of Owens from Higginson, and we're on board with Anderson here. Now Winstanley has gone through and disappeared up the road, but as far as the points are concerned, it's going to be Anderson that picks up the maximum, I think, within Class A this weekend at Silverstone. Well, there is our overall race winner, Carl Swift, delighted with his day's work. Let's have a look at what that means for the results then. And it was Carl Swift that took the win by exactly 5 seconds from Endaf Owens, with Mark Higginson getting onto the podium this time, Adam Shepherd 4th and Roderick Vella in 5th place. Well, Danny Winstanley's drive through the field was a lot of fun, but the man classified as the Class A winner was Mark Anderson from Tim Evans and David Bucey. As far as the championship goes, well, Anderson in 3rd place narrows the gap on David Bucey and Andrew Huff. Tim Evans lies in 4th position. And in Class B, Carl Swift with that double victory extends his lead in the championship over Adam Shepherd and Endaf Owens.
What a race that was, Carl. One that really turned on its head because you were down there fighting for the podium, and then it turned into the lead. Yeah,
crazy, like 8th after 2 laps. Had a shocking start because it was wet on that side of the grid. But then it just started to dry out and dry out and dry out the track. Sun came out and it just got faster and faster and faster. Just reeled everybody in.
There's a few damaged cars down there as well after a bit of contact, but you made your way through.
Yeah, I think I was half helped by the contact in a few places as well, but fought hard for them last 5 laps, really pushing it then.
Endaf Owens coming home in 2nd place. You kind of followed Carl through that one.
Yeah, we had the first few good laps. Bit of rubbing with everyone, it's got a bit hairy, but yeah, the car was good the first half, and then we put a new tyre on for the back left because it was damp, we thought, but it was the wrong choice. After like lap 5 or 6, it was just oversteering, and Carl got past, and I just had to settle for a second and couldn't keep on his pace.
And really, it's been an unusual day in terms of weather, because race 1 went from dry to wet. This one's gone from wet to dry, really.
Yeah, I usually like the wet, but being in between, we weren't quite sure on setup. We gambled on, me and Carl had the same setup on, and yeah, it was good. 2 podiums, not bad.
Mark, really unlucky race looking at it, because you had some tremendous speed out there to try and get the lead.
Yeah, I had the pace right from the start, but things didn't go my way. I had a bit of contact, and then that put me back to 4th, and then couldn't really do any better than that, really. 3rd was the best I could do.
And of course, when you did go off slightly there with the spin, you had to work your way back through. Was it kind of tricky to do so?
Not really, because I had the pace to win, really, so I got back onto the front 2 pretty quick, but again, it's getting past is another thing, innit?
I'm sure you can take some positives away from the day's racing though.
Yeah, I know the car's quick, and I know I'm pretty quick, so going into Snetterton I should be battling for wins again.
Well, that's all the Tegiwa Civic Cup action from Silverstone. The circus moves on to Snetterton for rounds 11 and 12. Join us then.